Wizards of the Coast has unbanned Mox Opal. You heard me correctly, and today we're playing one of the best decks at leveraging this busted card. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. What broken Mox Opal deck are we playing today? Well, we're playing Song of Creation Storm, so if you're unfamiliar with this deck, it's a lot of fun. So Song of Creation is a personal favorite of mine. I play it in the Epic Storm and Legacy. So for one green, blue, red, you get an enchantment that allows you to play an additional land each turn. At the end of your turn, you discard your hand. But the upside, whenever you cast a spell, you draw 2 cards. So this deck plays a ton of artifacts like Everflowing Chalice, Mishra's Bauble, Pentad Prism, Engineered Explosives, which you can play for 0, and then the recently unbanned Mox Opal. So every time you play one of these 0-mana spells, you draw 2 cards. That includes things like Gutshot or Noxious Revival that allow you some utility, because Noxious Revival could get back Grapeshot, for example, against Consigned to Memory, or you can Gutshot to kill an Orcish Bowmasters. So there's a lot you can do here. You could even Pact of Negation your own spell. Interesting. So you might be saying, why play something like an Offer You Can't Refuse? So you can Offer You Can't Refuse your own Everflowing Chalice, which gives you 2 treasure tokens. Okay. Well, 2 treasure tokens is what you need to enable Mox Opal. Well, that's pretty good. So on turn 1, using your land like a gemstone mine, you can counter your own Everflowing Chalice and immediately have Metalcraft. That's 3 mana on turn 1, not counting your land drop, which allows you on turn 2 to play Beseech the Mirror to go get your Song of Creation, draw your deck, and cast Grapeshot. That's how the deck works. In the sideboard, we have Leyline of Sanctity against discard strategies, also against discard strategies, Veil of Summer, but it can also be used against blue decks. Speaking of pesky blue decks, we have Teferi Time Raveler. This doubles as protection, but also stops, permanents that would prevent you from winning the game, for example, like Deafening Silence or something. And then we have Into the Floodmaw against non-blue decks just to bounce their hate pieces. This deck is fast and it's incredibly strong, and I'm excited today to play it with Mox Opal. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comment section down below. I'm thrilled to play it. And something that's not involved with this deck is I got a new webcam. Let me know if you think the quality's better or worse than it was before. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Alright, time for round number 1. We've won the die roll. So in the deck tech, I said let me know about my webcam, all that good stuff. Well, I did notice that my sleeve was flickering, so hopefully I fixed that. And now let's play some Magic. This hand does not have access to a Song of Creation. We should probably take a mulligan. This hand does have access to a Song of Creation. Let's go. Alright, so we will keep this and bottom the Pentad Prism. Alright, so we will add a blue. Hopefully it allows me to do this. I've been struggling with Magic Online just holding priority. I'm holding control right now. And now we will play an Offer You Can't Refuse. Alright, so we have 2 treasures. Next turn we can go Mox Opal, Song of Creation, play explosives, and trigger the song. Black Cleave Cliffs. Just play a Dragon's Rage Channeler, please. Nope. Oh, Hope of Gearper, that's fine. Alright, not a Thoughtseize. Mox Opal. So they're playing something spicy. And Pact of Negation. So we'll tap this for a blue. Opal for a white. Red. Green. Boom. Song. And now we'll play explosives for 0. And let's draw 2. Should I counter the Pact of Negation? Or should I Pact of Negation the explosives? I'm going to say no. Because this is Metalcraft for this Opal. So I'm hoping that we draw a couple more 0s here. We did not. So any land would be good off this Pact of Negation if I counter. I'm going to risk it. We drew another Pact of Negation. Well, Pact of Negation, the Pact of Negation. So now the 2 packs will fizzle. And the Opal will resolve. We'll keep the new one. We'll play Mana Confluence as our first land for the turn. play Mishra's Bauble. That can resolve. We'll play another copy of Mishra's Bauble. And then let's play an Offer You Can't Refuse. Play another Mana Confluence. Play another copy of Mox Opal. And I believe we have it at this point. We'll play another Engineered Explosives. Play another copy of an Offer You Can't Refuse. Turn 2 win. Not bad. Sweet. And the opponent concedes. I'm not really sure what they're up to over there, though. We probably don't need Pact of Negation. On the draw, I'm going to try just 4 copies of Leyline. On the play, I might want Veil of Summer, but on the draw, we'll try this. It does not have Leyline, but what it does have is double Song of Creation if our opponent has a discard spell. I think we'll keep this. I'm not in love with the hand, but I do think it's playable. Is this like Rakdos Affinity? It must be, right? Volt Scourge? Yeah, this is Affinity. They have 2 cards remaining. We'll play Gemstone Mine. Pass the turn. I mean, next turn I could kill their creatures with my Grapeshot, which is kind of funny. Yeah, get in there. I'll go to 19. Refurbished Familiar. Goodbye, Song of Creation. They play a Swamp. They have 1 card left. We draw Engineered Explosives, so we'll play that. Play the Mishra's Bauble. And now we'll play Mox Opal. And Grapeshot for 4. So we'll target the Familiar, the Vault Scourge, and then Ornithopter again. So I could have played Song of Creation this turn, but I would have had to discard the Grapeshot and leave them with their creatures. I can just play the Song of Creation next turn, and maybe I'll draw a land, and then I have the Opal to trigger the song. Refurbish Familiar, so that's annoying. So now they can discard my other Opal. We need a mana here. Leyline of Sanctity is not it. Alright, so we will pass. Cranial Plating. Alright, we're in trouble. And now they're attacking for 6. That will put me to 13. An Offer You Can't Refuse that does not help me here. I think I might have to use the Bauble. Let's look at their draw. No idea what that is, but we'll read it if they play it. So now I'm taking 6 again down to 7, which would shut off the Mana Confluence. Hope of Europer, things are not looking good for me. So I'll draw off the Bauble. Another Leyline was terrible. And another Mox Opal. So this does not win, and we will go to game 3. Okay, so what do we want to do? I don't know if they actually have discard, so I don't think I love Leyline. I am interested in Into the Floodmaw, though, in case they have things like Damping Sphere. So we'll try this. Game 3, we're on the play. No, unfortunately, we can't keep that. This is close. We'll keep it and put the Beseech the Mirror on the bottom. I think you're supposed to use the Mishra's Bauble just to try to spike the second land for Pentad Prism. In their upkeep, we'll Bauble them. This way, if they do have a turn 1 discard spell, now Spellbomb, I don't care about that. This way, if they do have a discard spell, they don't get to choose the card I draw. They play Vault Scourge, Mox Opal, so they do have Metalcraft, Springleaf Drum. Good start. Yep. They have 2 cards remaining. I would like a land, please. Into the Floodmaw. An Offer You Can't Refuse. So I could offer my own Opal, but that doesn't allow me to play anything post Song of Creation. So I think I'm going to just sit here, and if I need to use the Floodmaw, I can. They play a Shadow Spear. Okay. I've never seen this before. It's cool. It's just a better Mirror Enforcer, because you can play it for the prototype. We'll take 1. Sure. You have 1 card in your hand. Grapeshot. So we're drawing blanks. I will pass. We'll take 5 going down to 14. The equip post-combat. A little odd. We'll untap and draw. Explosive. So this is something I can offer. So we're going to hold priority and play Engineered Explosives. And then I can offer it. Play Mox Opal. So I could trade a treasure here for a Pentad Prism. So if I do that, I have 5 mana next turn, which is enough to play Song of Creation plus Into the Floodmaw. I think that's worthwhile. They're going to draw off the Nile Spellbomb. Okay. So this is 6 damage coming in. Puts me to 7. And they don't attack with the Vault Scourge. So that means that they want the Springleaf Drum mana. What do you want Springleaf Drum for? So I could Floodmaw If I flood them off first, my Opal isn't active. Unless I burn the Pentad Prism, which might be fine. We will bounce the Vault Scourge. They make a blue. We'll go to combat. And now we will play another Pentad Prism. And now we can play Song of Creation. We'll play the song. And we need some good draws here. Mox Opal. Trigger. Not dead yet. We'll keep the Mox Opal. Play Everflowing Chalice. Drew double land. That was not good. Okay. First land for turn can be Beseech you. And we can Grapeshot them for 1 and the Enforcer for 5. Target the Enforcer with the others. So I'll go to 5 life and I'll put Mox Opal back on top of our deck. Play Mishra's Bauble. So I have 1 Noxious Revival left in the deck that needs to put Grapeshot back on top. We'll play another copy of Mox Opal. We'll play Mana Confluence. Play Engineered Explosives for 0. And we'll offer You Can't Refuse on the explosives. Play another copy of Mox Opal. Looks like we're doing it. Play another Everflowing Chalice. Engineered Explosives for 0. Oh, I could have offered. Whoops. Let's play Strike It Rich. This looks like something I probably want to use Offer on, because everything else in my hand is sort of clunky. We drew another Mox Opal and a Bauble. That's good. We need to find the other Noxious Revival, and it can't be on the bottom of the deck. We'll play another Everflowing Chalice. So I could Beseech the Mirror for it. That's probably the move. So we'll tap. We'll play Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. Get rid of an empty Pentad Prism. Noxious Revival. We'll target Grapeshot. We'll play Engineered Explosives, and our opponent concedes the match. We got it. We got the first match, Song of Creation. Turn 5 wasn't really what I had in mind, but we did have a turn 2 in game 1, so I'll take it. All right, 1-0. Stick around for match number 2. MoxField.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. MoxField supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on MoxField.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Let's try to get another win. We are on the play with Song of Creation combo featuring Mox Opal. No, we can't keep that. Am I really supposed to go to 5? I think we'll keep this. Bottom the Grapeshot. Play Mana Confluence. Play Strike It Rich. Play the Mishra's Bauble, and we'll pass. I meant to use the Bauble in their upkeep, and honestly I just forgot, so forgive me. Blood Crypt is their card next turn. We'll draw off the Bauble. City of Brass, and another land. Looking a little grim here. We'll play the Pentad Prism. Send it back. Blood Crypt. Alright, Orcish Bowmaster is coming. We'll play Mana Confluence. Pass the turn. I could play Strike It Rich, but if we have to beat an Orcish Bowmasters, I don't think the 2 life is worth the treasure. And there's the Bowmasters. And another Bowmasters. Jeez. Okay, so they had a draw that aligned really well against what we're playing. And the Burning Inquiry. That's such a combo here. And our hand, nothing was even coming. Alright. We did not win that one. So I think we want Leyline. We probably want Veil of Summer. I know it's a lot to come in, but Pact of Negation isn't particularly good here. So I think we can, get rid of that. Offer is like fine. It allows you to go up on mana, but it's not incredible. So I could see boarding down on those. And then maybe with Veil of Summer and Leyline, you don't need the Gut Shot. So we'll try this. On the play. I wish I could keep this. It's not good enough. We'll mulligan. Why are you like this, deck? We will keep begrudgingly. Bottom the Grapeshot. I just don't think you're allowed to mulligan to 5, hoping to find like a Leyline, and then 4 cards that are incredible. Because if you do that, like, you're a deck that needs a lot of resources in order to win. It's just so unlikely. They have the turn 1 Blood Crypt into Dragon's Rage Channeler. Strike It Rich. We'll play Pentad Prism. So Meltdown is a card out of the sideboard of this deck. You don't want to just throw out your artifacts. Burning Inquiry. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that because our hand stinks. Well, now our hand is decent. We have a win next turn. They play a Raucous Theater. And by a win, I mean an opportunity to win. We don't have a guaranteed win. They attack for 3. Ouch. We'll play Mana Confluence. Make some black mana with the Pentad Prism. And we will Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrificing the Pentad Prism. Select Song of Creation. We'll play that. Play Everflowing Chalice. We need to draw some cheap spells off this. Veil of Summer. I mean, it allows us to continue, I suppose. We'll play Veil of Summer. Everflowing Chalice. Technically still live. Engineered Explosives. It's a lot of lands, Batman. Another Veil of Summer and a Strike It Rich. We'll play Gemstone Mine. Play Strike It Rich. So I can Veil of Summer again. But things are not looking particularly good. We'll play the Veil of Summer. And we failed. Okay, we will pass the turn and discard our hand. So, Silver Lining, we still have 2 copies of Strike It Rich in the graveyard to start up again next turn. Assuming I get another turn. Nethergoyf, and an Orcish Bowmasters. That's terrifying. I've already used 2 Veil of Summers, and they're about to deal me 11. So I only have a couple draws to draw into Veil of Summer. Yeah, that was an amazing... 1 draw. I have 1 draw. Actually, no. I can't even Veil of Summer. The Bowmasters kills me. Wow. That was just a series of unfortunate events. Because if I... Okay, hypothetically, we play Strike It Rich. Let's say I'm lucky enough to draw Veil of Summer. The song trigger resolves before the Veil. So I would have had to have drawn Veil of Summer for turn. It's the only way I could have won this. And there's the zeros we needed. That was frustrating. Sometimes you lose. That's how Magic goes. But we're 1-1. There's still plenty of Magic left to be played. I'm sure we'll win some more games. Match number 3 coming right up. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we're on the play. So I forgot, I'm sure I'll edit it into the deck tech, but this is a donation deck from Ari. Ari has been a longtime supporter of the Epic Storm YouTube channel. In fact, they were like one of the first 3 to ever support us. So Ari, thank you for your continued support over the years. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for making me play Song of Creation Storm. This deck is sweet. All right, this seems great. We will keep. So we can have turn 2 Song of Creation, right? Because we go land Strike It Rich, turn 2 land, Opal, Bauble, Song of Creation, play explosives and trigger the song. We'll play Gemstone Mine and Strike It Rich, pass the turn. They play My Island and a Temu Inquisitive Student. Alright, so we need them to not have Flare of Denial. We'll play City of Brass. Play the Mox Opal. Mishra's Bauble. Blue, red, green. I guess we'll let the City of Brass trigger resolve. Song of Creation. You better resolve. Don't you dare flare me. It's even worse, they have Force of Negation, so I can't even Noxious it back to the top. Come on. Ah, brutal. I think I'm probably supposed to use the Mishra's Bauble, and they're just playing Dimir Frogtide, the best deck in the format. Fatal Pushes on top of their deck. Drop Pentad Prism, Pact of Negation. So if I use the Gemstone Mine, I'm going to lose it. We don't have anything going on here, so I think I'm just going to wait. I could play out the Pentad Prism, I just don't see the point. Alright, so we're starting to get buried by Tamiyo and Psychic Frog. They transform the Tamiyo. Next turn, they can get back the Force of Negation. Alright, so I'll play out the Everflowing Chalice for 0. This allows me to turn on the Mox Opal, which means I can play Pentad Prism. So we have 4 copies of Beseech the Mirror, and then 3 more copies of Song of Creation that I would like to draw. Psychic Frog comes in. Ouch. Watery Grave. They pick up the Force of Negation. We draw Beseech. We know that our opponent just picked up a Force of Negation. So if they have Counterspell plus Force of Negation, we lose. I could try waiting to see if they tap out. Alright, so now the Frog. They discard the Fatal Push that we knew about. And another Psychic Frog. Land number 4. They plus the Tamiyo. They're never tapping out again. Okay, I suppose we'll go for broke. Beseech the Mirror, bargain away Pentad Prism. We need them to just have nothing. Song of Creation. And they still have the Force of Negation in their hand. Alright, so we lose game number 1. Bring in the Veil of Summer, and I think I want Teferi Time Raveler as well. Board out the Gut Shots. We're at 65, so we have to find some cuts here. Maybe a few copies of Offer You Can't Refuse, a couple copies of Engineered Explosives, maybe like 1 Beseech the Mirror. I don't think you're really allowed to go too far down on those, but you don't want to draw... You want to draw exactly 1 Song of Creation for the most part, and you don't want to draw any Beseech the Mirrors after that. So we'll try this out. It is a little bit of a slower matchup. Keep, Gemstone Mine, pass the turn. So we have turn 2 3 mana, but we don't have 4, and even if we did, we can't trigger the Song of Creation. Tamiyo is back on the first turn. Another land. We will pass. They attack with the Tamiyo. Psychic Frog. So if we could draw a 0 mana spell here, I think I would try to win. Pact of Negation. It's not the 0 mana spell I had in mind. But I mean, it does give me extra backup for next turn. So if I can draw a land, we have almost a guaranteed win. I say almost because anything could happen, but we'd have Song of Creation plus double trigger. And now they have 6 cards in hand with 3 open mana. We will play Strike It Rich. Pass the turn. They use a Clue token and a Thought Scour. They attack and trigger the Tamiyo. They draw off the Frog, and now they have 9 cards in their hand. They play a land for the turn. They discard an Oculus to the Frog. And now they unearth it, so they're putting a clock on the table. We draw another Mishra's Bauble. I think we just have to jam. This doesn't feel like a guaranteed win anymore. They've drawn so many cards. We had a couple windows, we just didn't hit them. So Beseech the Mirror. Song of Creation. We'll play it. Counterspell. I will Pact of Negation. Song of Creation back on the stack. They play Force of Negation. I will Pact of Negation. Song of Creation back on the stack. It resolves. We will play Mox Opal. Trigger the song. Play Gemstone Mine. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so it looks like we have a chance to win here. Play Engineered Explosives for 0. Play another Mishra's Bauble. Everflowing Chalice. We'll Noxious Revival the Mishra's Bauble back on top. Play Engineered Explosives for 0. Play another Mishra's Bauble. We're just looking for Grapeshot at this point. Tap the Mox Opal. We found a Teferi Time Raveler. That's actually pretty good, because I would stop a Consign to Memory. But if they had one, I think they would have used it on the first trigger for Song, but who knows. We'll -3 pick up Mox Opal. Play the Mox Opal. Play Everflowing Chalice. And then we'll offer it. Just digging for that Grapeshot at this point. We have not found it. We'll play Bauble. Another Pact of Negation. I have 2 treasures and an opal. So we're 1 mana short of Beseech the Mirror. We'll play Strike It Rich. It's basically neutral because we get a treasure. Mox Opal. This brings me up to enough mana for Beseech the Mirror. So we will Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing Song of Creation because you don't want to accidentally draw your Grapeshot. And then we'll target them. Sweet. We have forced to game 3. This deck is so scary. It's just all interaction and it's all so efficient. Resubmit. If we can draw a land or 2, this is amazing. I'm going to keep it. We're on the draw. Hopefully we get a little lucky. Blue to Delta. Tamiyo is back. Back again. We did draw the land I wanted. Play Striker Rich. And we'll pass. Flooded Strand. They fetch with the Flooded Strand. Psychic Frog. So I could try to play the Tamiyo here and bounce the Frog. My concern is that I don't have enough mana to then win on the following turn. So is it really worthwhile? We'll play Pentad Prism. They can attack. They missed a land drop. We draw Pact of Negation. I think I'm just going to play another Pentad Prism this turn. Trying to build up for a stronger turn. They allow it to happen, and we'll pass. So maybe, alright, so when we look at my board, I have 7 mana. So in theory, we could try to set up a turn where I win with Teferi, Pact, Song. Really depends on what our opponent does. They discard Oculus to the Frog and Consider, so they're going aggro. And now they unearth on the Oculus, so they've decided that they're the beatdown. Beseech the Mirror, not a particularly good draw. Okay. The Fairy Time Raveler. The Force of Negation, exiling counter spell. We will Pact of Negation. The Fairy Time Raveler. Another Force of Negation. We have to let that happen. If they have anything else, we probably lose. Play Song of Creation. Wow, they had Force of Negation, Spell Pierce, Counterspell, Counterspell. Sometimes it's just not meant for you. Yeah, you got it. Yikes. So I have 1 land left versus lethal. Yeah, I'm good to concede here. We're 1-2. Not the way I wanted this league to go, but sometimes people just have your number, and that happens. There's still 2 more matches. I'm sure there's going to be some great magic to be had. Stick around, and let's see if we win some. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round number 4, let's go. On the play. Yeah, this seems fine. We need another artifact for our Mox Opal, but it's reasonable. Gemstone Mine, and we will pass. They play Blood Crypt and Thoughtseize. Goodbye, Beseech the Mirror. A little bit of a bummer. What, they didn't take the Beseech? Oh my, if we can draw a 0-mana artifact. That was such a greedy decision. Come on, deck, pretty please. Pentad Prism? It's close. It doesn't do it, though. Next turn. Alright, we need them to not have another discard spell. And they do. We did not get to punish them, but we almost did. We needed a 0-mana artifact. So now we have 7 hits in our deck, 3 Beseeches, 4 Songs. I'll just play out the Bauble now. The Metalcraft or Opal doesn't matter. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay, so this might be the creativity deck. I mean, I could think about countering the Fable, but I'm not sure that's a good play. So we'll let that happen. Noxious Revival. That can put the Beseech on top. Alright, so we're looking at a win next turn. So they attacked, they made a treasure, and now they're tapping mana inside of combat. My guess is that our opponent thinks that they're outside of combat, but we'll switch phases and then they can tap some mana. You can have another Fable. They fetch with Scalding Tarn and a Renin 6. You got it. They put the Scalding Tarn back to their hand, and then on the end step, we're going to put Beseech the Mirror back on top of our deck. So we'll pay mana for this, no need to waste our life. Alright, so now then we'll make an extra blue here off the Pentad Prism. Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, or Song of Creation. Play the song, Gutshot targeting you, and then we'll offer You Can't Refuse. So that way we get the treasures. Play Mox Opal, and now we have Metalcraft thanks to those treasures. And at this point, it's just drawing our deck until we hit the Grapeshot. Explosives for 0, and there's the Grapeshot. Alright, well, we do need to play a few more spells before we win. We'll play Strike It Rich, spell number 8. Another copy of Engineered Explosives, that's spell number 9. Play another land, and we'll just play the Grapeshot. Alright, easy does it. That was a wonderful game. Hopefully our next one can be just as simple. We likely want Leyline of Sanctity. Pact of Negation does not seem that great here. I wonder if... I'm going to try no Veil of Summer. I just don't want to dilute the deck too much. I wonder if that was an issue earlier on in the league for me, so we'll just try the ley lines. Maybe Veils only come in against control, and ley lines are just versus discard. That might be better. Because versus Hollow One, I did feel like our deck kind of just didn't function. We don't have Leyline of Sanctity, but this hand is pretty good. This could be a turn 2 Beseech the Mirror into a win. We'll try that. So if we want to do that, I would need to play Offer on turn 1, which opens me up to like a Meltdown. But, I mean, it could be pretty good. They have 4 cards. I could also hold open Offer, trying to protect from discard. That's another option. We'll play Everflowing Chalice for 0. Play Strike It Rich. And Mox Opal. So now I can offer a discard spell and hopefully untap and be able to Beseech the Mirror. They play Faithless Looting. Discards Archon of Cruelty and a land. Okay, looks like we're getting our window to try to win. So we drew the land. That was one of our best draws here. We'll play Beseech the Mirror, bargain away Mox Opal. Uh-oh. I don't like this. What are you doing? Justice Reveal land? Okay. That means it's time to party. We will grab Song of Creation, play Mox Opal, and now Engineered Explosives. We now have Metalcraft, which means that I can offer You Can't Refuse my own Gut Shot in order to make mana. We are definitely going to do that. We'll Noxious Revival to put Mox Opal back on top of the deck, play Mana Confluence, and then we'll play Pentad Prism. This will trigger it. We'll draw the Mox Opal, play Mox Opal. Well, that was less than desirable. Okay, so we will hold priority. We'll play Offer on Mox Opal. And I think we're fine letting that be countered. We'll play another Mox Opal. We'll keep this one. And now we'll play another Engineered Explosives. Offer You Can't Refuse. Everflowing Chalice. We're getting pretty close to the point where I can Beseech the Mirror for the Grapeshot. Play Mox Opal. Keep the new one. Play Strike It Rich. Alright, well, I drew a Chain of Lands. So I could still Beseech the Mirror. That's an option. And it's an option I don't even hate. I have a lot of mana. I do wonder if there's actually too many lands in this deck, but I could be wrong about that. So a fun trick with Song of Creation and Beseech the Mirror is you can just chain songs in each one, or chain Beseech the Mirrors, depending on how many are left in your deck, and then draw that many cards. So it's just like a mini Storm Engine while you're going. And then we'll select the Grapeshot. So this is exactly 19, and they're at 19. We will target you. Alright, so I believe that we've got this one. That will put us up to 2-2 with 1 match left to go. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? The final match, we're on the play again. Big fan of being on the play with this deck. We have a hand that I don't believe you're allowed to keep. I take back what I said about too many lands. We'll go to 5. I believe we're forced to keep this. Get rid of the Grapeshot and the Noxious Revival. We'll play Besage and pass. They play a Marsh Flats. Blood Crypt. Brutal. Yep. Bottoming the Noxious Revival instead of the Pact of Negation was something I went back and forth with in my head. But I was like, if they're on a blue deck, Pact of Negation is so much better. And I don't have anything to target to trigger the Song of Creation anyway. But, I mean, obviously here, the Noxious Revival would have been better than the Pact of Negation to get back Song of Creation. They took Pentad Prism. They must have more discard. Okay. I believe there's a word for this, and it's Thoughtseize Bug. Alright, no second discard spell. I'm begging you. Sacred Foundry. Goblin Bombardment. So you're saying there's a chance. Oh, baby. Here we go. Complain and draw well. That's the name of the game. And have your opponent make a clearly wrong play. I'm sorry, opponent. I'm sure you're very smart, but I just don't agree with the Pentad Prism play. Mox Opal. This will trigger song. Still in response, we'll gut shot them. I could Pact of Negation here, but if I blank, I lose the game. I'm going to just let these resolve, and then I can play another Opal. So, yeah, I think I want a Pact of Negation. Another song. We'll play Strike It Rich. This will give me Metalcraft. Play the explosives. Alright, I think we have it from here. We'll play Mox Opal. Keep, and then we'll play another Mox Opal. Tap for black. And then we'll play Beseech the Mirror, bargain away Mox Opal. This will be Storm 10. We'll grab another Beseech the Mirror. Sacrifice the Pentad Prism. And then we'll pick up Grapeshot. They're already at 12 from their own Thoughtseizes and lands. So this will do. Mulligan to 5. Turn 3 win against Thoughtseize. Not bad. So the deck has some legs. Alright, so that's game number 1. We are 1 game away from a positive league, which is definitely what I want here. We'll bring in Leyline of Sanctity, take out the Pact of Negations. Let's try this. You could argue that maybe I'm supposed to be bringing Into the Floodmaw more often, but if I am not seeing Dedicated Hate, I don't really want to bring it in, which might be crazy. It's just, you can beat Bowmasters. It's stuff like Damping Sphere that's a problem, and if it's just Graveyard Hate, you don't have to use the Graveyard. So I don't really want Into the Floodmaw unless you necessarily need it. On the draw for game number 2, we have a hand that just doesn't do enough. We have to mulligan this. This is interesting. We'll keep and get rid of the Gut Shot. So you can offer on your own spell on turn 1, and that gives you 3 mana on turn 2. So if you draw a land, you can Beseech the Mirror on turn 2. And you even have Noxious Revival if they have a turn 1 discard spell. They have Sacred Foundry and Ocelot Pride. Well, there's the land I wanted. So we have a turn 2 Beseech the Mirror. We'll play Everflowing Chalice, holding priority. And we will offer You Can't Refuse. Pass the turn. Our opponent plays a land, and now they go to attack with the Ocelot Pride. My fear here is that they have an Orum's Chant, and that I'm just going to get blown out because I sideboarded out Pact of Negation. Stony Silence. Well, that is a reason to want Into the Floodmaw. Okay. I'm still capable of beating this, but now I need to draw like 2 lands in a row. Or I could just draw Beseiju. Let's go. The 1 of Beseiju? Let's do it. It's just good deck building, let me tell you. So on their turn, they're going to combat. I'll take 2 here down to 16. And they don't do anything else. So if they have an Orum's Chant, I lose. Can't beat everything. Alright, we'll destroy the Stony Silence. They pick up a Raucous Theater. Well, that looked like an F6. So I was thinking about it, and I think I made the wrong play, but I didn't mean to play the explosives. I actually wanted to play out the Opal, so that way I could have a mana floating. It just didn't work out. So now I'll play the song. And we'll Noxious the Engineered Explosives back on top of the deck. And I drew the other Noxious. Do you just have like a loop here? We'll put this Noxious back on top. Play a Mox Opal. I guess we kind of do have a Noxious Revival loop. We'll play Mana Confluence. Put Noxious Revival back on top, going to 8. Play Engineered Explosives. Everflowing Chalice. There's another Gut Shot. We'll play Strike It Rich. We'll Gut Shot them. This puts me to 6. Go to 5 and we'll offer it. Play Mox Opal. Play a Bauble. And at this point, I think it's just getting enough Storm to win with the Grapeshot. And there's Grapeshot. We can play a Pentad Prism. That's from 16. From 17, Engineered Explosives. Storm 18 will play Pentad Prism. Everflowing Chalice, that can be spell 19. 21 cards left in deck. We'll play another Mox Opal. Keep this one. And then we'll play Grapeshot. Spell number 21. We still have a Noxious Revival if for some reason we need it. Like if they try to gain life or something. Sweet. We got the 3-2. Love that. Alright, so what did I think of the deck list? It feels like you need more copies of Gut Shot. Like you probably want 4 Gut Shots if you're planning on... Like if Hollow One is a real deck and Orcish Bowmaster sees a lot of play, you just need 4 gut shots if you're ever going to beat Bowmasters. So I think I'd like to see that change a little bit, but I would not cut into Noxious Revival. I actually really liked those. So I think I would look at a couple copies of Striker Rich maybe, or a few copies of Offer You Can't Refuse. And then I would play 4 copies of Gut Shot. That would be my starting point. I'm not sure about the sideboard. I like that Teferi beats Consign to Memory. And that's pretty good in that you don't have to board in an answer versus blue decks. So Teferi seems great to me. I'm not sure if 4 Leyline for Veil of Summer is right. Leyline is really good against discard because it's a turn 0 play. And then you want Veil of Summer against blue decks, but 8 cards in versus black decks doesn't feel possible to me. I just might not know how to sideboard. And if that's the case, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. But that's all I've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this Mox Opal Song of Creation video. Thank you again to Ari for the donation deck. I really do appreciate your support. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. What you should do is like, comment, and subscribe because there's no better way to support us. And if you enjoyed this video, head over to moxfield.com and follow us there. It's truly the best deck website on the internet. We update all of our decks there regularly with the latest and greatest technology, so you're always up to date. Once again, go check out Moxfield, and thank you for watching.